Hello, my fantastic first graders. This is Mrs. Rowley with this week's topic of discussion. So we haven't had a topic of discussion since before February break. I hope your break was fantastic. In this week's topic, I included some pictures that I took over vacation. My family and I, we went to a really large mall in Rhode Island, and one of the displays in this mall was a replica or a model of the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. So, what was special about this Capitol building is that it was built entirely with Legos. Can you believe it? Now, in the picture to my right, I have my stepdaughter standing in a picture. So, you can see to scale how large this building was. I don't know how many Legos they used, but it was a lot. The building that they built was huge. Very cool. So I hope your vacation was good, and I hope your first week back to school was good. We have nothing to review, so let's get into this week's topic of discussion. Your ticket this week will look like this. Take this time and put your name on it. All right. Vocabulary. Remember, I'm looking for a word that fits the definition I'm going to read to you. So the definition is 30 minutes is also called, there's another name for 30 minutes. There are a couple different names, and I'm wondering if you can come up with one of them. After 30 minutes goes by on a clock, it is called this. It has the same name. If you think you know, turn to a friend and ask them what they think. Do you have the same answer as your neighbor? Interesting. If you do, fantastic. And if you don't, that's okay too. When you think you know what 30 minutes is also called, write it down on the vocabulary side of your answer ticket. Remember, spelling doesn't count for this particular activity. Do your best. Listen to the sounds of the letters and try your hardest. 30 minutes is also called, All right, let's look at the problem. The topic of discussion this week asks you to use a 100 chart. Now I know you've been doing a lot of hard work in your classes using the 100 chart. So this says 13 plus 70 equals what? How could you use a 100 chart to solve this? I think you should talk to a friend and decide what that would look like if you used a 100 chart to solve it. I bet you have a 100 chart in your room that you could use as a reference. 13 plus 70 is how many? Use your number chart and solve. And when you're done, look at a friend and see if they have the same answer. If they do, fantastic. Look at another neighbor and see if they have the same answer. If your neighbors don't have the same answer, ask them, how did you come up with that answer? See if they can explain how they use the hundreds chart to come up with their answer. And then show them how you use the number chart. I wonder if it will be really similar. Excellent. So, the last thing you have to do is, on that blank piece of paper that's stapled to your answer ticket, remember, tell me in a picture or a diagram or using words, tell me how you know your answer is right. How do you know? I always am curious about what you're thinking and about how you know certain things. If you want to draw a picture of your hundreds chart and use the numbers to solve, that's fine with me. If you want to tell me in words, you can do that too. Being able to explain your thinking is so important. When you've done your vocabulary, and when you've answered this topic of discussion, and when you've explained your answer to me, and after you've checked in with a friend, that's super important as well. Give your ticket back to your teacher. She'll give it to me, and I'll get back to you next week. This has been Mrs. Rowley with this week's topic of discussion.